Welcome to FitFromMovement.com. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the late fall 2012 releases by Duck Down Records. Now, Duck Down's already had a big fall with Sky Zoo's Dream Deferred just coming out and getting great critical acclaim. We're going to take a look at their later releases, including ones by Sean Price, Murs and Ninth Wonder, and Buckshot and Ninth Wonder. Okay, the first album we're going to take a look at is Mike Tyson by Sean Price. It seems to have taken a couple years to come out, and the internet was really hungry for it. And Sean Price just delivers on all fronts. It's 12 cuts. They're all tight. Got production by Evidence, by Alchemist, by Ninth Wonder, and the beats are kind of like an updated version of what these guys were doing in the 90s at Boot Camp Click and Helter Skelter, where they sound kind of like that dirty, dusty, lo-fi basement kind of production, but then it's updated, doesn't sound dated at all. On top of that, Sean Price just murders these tracks. He's definitely one of the most clever rappers out right now. He's a little bit older. He's about 40 years old, and he raps from the perspective of being a grown man in hip-hop, which very few people do. On top of that, he's probably the best rapper right now at being funny and menacing in the same couple of bars. I think he does great with what we call threat rap. We heard him on Figure 4 say, "I punched holes through school buses" a couple years ago. And now Mike Tyson, he's talking about throwing people through pizza store windows and backing over him in reverse in a van like Grand Theft Auto. It's just really clever ways to be pretty hard and menacing at the same time, which almost nobody does as good as Sean Price. The other thing that's interesting about this album is there's 12 cuts. A lot of them are, barely 2 minutes long. So it's not the typical, verse, chorus kind of thing. It's the beat comes on, Sean Price says what he's got to say, and he's out. He's like, all right, that's it. I'm done rapping. There's nothing more to it. Let's move on to the next one, which honestly I wish more MCs did because it makes the project that much more concentrated and more hard-hitting. So Sean Price is Mike Tyson. I'm going to go ahead and say right now it's going to be on my best of 2012 list. The next one we're going to take a look at is Solution by Buckshot and Ninth Wonder. It's their third full-length collaboration following 05's Chemistry and 09's The Formula, and it's just as good as the first two. Ninth brings his A-game beat-wise, Buckshot brings his A-game rhyme-wise, and pretty much everything they do works. Now, this seems like a perfect collaboration now. Take yourself back to 05, and everybody's kind of like, well, how's this going to work? Because Buckshot is such a prototypical backpack, hard-hitting, punchline-driven New York MC, and Ninth Wonder makes these kind of, big, soulful, Southern-influenced records. How are they going to work together? And then you heard it, you're like, oh, wait, it really works well. That juxtaposition really, services both of them well, and it's no different here. A couple of standouts on here. Shorty Left features female, up-and-coming female MC Rhapsody. It's kind of a cool look at how to be in a relationship while you're doing this independent music grind, which is obviously just that, a grind. And I haven't really heard that perspective on it that many times before. And then the lead single, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's called Stop Rapping. Kind of saying that if you haven't reached a certain level of success, you just give up after a while. And I think they should leave the kind of F your dreams mentality to guys like Rick Ross and Diddy, or the guys over at Get Up on This. But I don't think that really fits Buckshot's style too well. But overall, it's a pretty good album. All the beats work, all the rhymes work. And then I hope Buckshot keeps making great music like this. But what I really like to see sooner rather than later is for Buck and Drew Ha, the other CEO at Duck Down, to sit down and write a book about how they've been so successful for so long. They've been relevant for close to 20 years. Every label they came out with is done. Bad Boy, Death Row, No Limit, Loud, they've all fallen by the wayside, and Duck Down has thrived for close to 20 years, industry where nobody makes it 20 years. So keep up with the good music from Buckshot. Hopefully you unveil some of the secrets pretty soon to see how they did it, because if you're doing anything independent in the entertainment field, they should be at the very least an inspiration, and at the very most provide a model of how you can succeed independently. Okay, the last album we're going to take a look at is The Final Adventure by Murs and Ninth Wonder. Now, I tried as hard as I could to track this down on physical copy, but I couldn't, so I went to iTunes for it. But it was absolutely worth my money and my time and my effort. This is their fifth full-length collaboration. They started in 04 with Murs 316, the 9th edition, and have worked together every 2 years since then on a 10-song album. And this is just as good as any one they've ever done, which is really saying a lot, because I think some of those are some of my best albums over the last 10 years. And Murs and Ninth Wonder just get together and do it again. Now, they do good work apart from each other, absolutely, but when they come together, it's really something special. Two songs I really like, two of the standouts. Walk Like a Man talks about going from being single to being married and how to make that marriage work, and looks at relationships, as Murs always does, from a mature adult perspective, and doesn't make caricatures of the people involved. And not enough people do that in hip-hop today. And then the other one, A Tale of Two Cities, it's kind of a look at the gang culture in LA from, again, a mature adult perspective, and kind of saying, like, this is what's going on, this is how it's affecting people negatively, and here's what we can do about it kind of thing. which is, almost never done in hip hop. So Murs has always been an overwhelmingly positive rapper, but it's not, that kind of like stupid extra special kind of positivity. He's kind of realistic and grounded in reality with it, which I think is rare in hip hop. The other thing he does that's incredibly rare is he's not a character. He's not, he's a man with a lot of different facets, and he looks at things like a mature adult, and he raps about that incredibly well, which is something we almost never see in hip hop. So if you don't have any of the Murs Ninth Wonder collaboration albums yet, go ahead and start with the Final Adventure, because that's out there and you can get it now, kind of be up on what's going on, and then go back and listen to all the other ones, because they're one better than the next. The only thing I want to say negative about this album at all is that I hope it's not really the Final Adventure. I hope this is their last collaboration, the way the Black Album was Jay-Z's retirement album, and in a couple years we'll be back together doing it again. But for now, we got to be happy with what we have. We have 5 full lengths from Murs and Ninth Wonder, and should honestly go out and support every single one of them. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of FifthRoundMovement.com. Get out there and support artists that are doing it big independently, like Sean Price, Buckshot, Murs, Ninth Wonder, and putting great music out there, outside of the system to some extent. That's FifthRoundMovement.com. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Fifth Round, and we'll see you next time.